Hello, I'm Chuck Phillip, and welcome to another episode of Southern Stories. I won't do one on lightning of all things. This is something I've always been fascinated with, even since I was a little kid. And when I remember in the Boy Scouts, when we went to Camp Malvilla, I would just sit there and look at the sky and watch the heat lightning from a distance. And I also remember another time when I was coming home from Mobile, in my mom's VW, and the lightning was flashing pretty bad. And in fact, she screamed at one point when lightning hit pretty close. And I told her, "Mom, don't worry about it. That's just God taking pictures of us." She thought that was the cutest thing, and she repeated that to me throughout my entire life. So I'm going to make a few episodes on this lightning. I hope you find them fascinating like I do, because what this is really about is protecting your home. We live in the lightning capital of Alabama.
Hey everyone, this is meteorologist Lexi Birmingham, and we have received data that Mobile was the lightning capital of Alabama in 2022.
But I remember, the houses being struck and hit by lightning here in my neighborhood my entire life, all the way back to the 60s. In fact, my house was hit several times across the road from where I live. And about a year ago, I was standing at the back window and I saw this massive lightning bolt hit this tree about 75 yards behind the house, and it just exploded, much like this video here I'm showing you. It was extremely loud. It was like a 81 millimeter mortar shell hit there, and it's like a line charge that went up the tree. And I remember all this red smoke that was in the air, and I was kind of fascinated by that as well. I says, "Where's this red smoke coming from?" And as it turned out, that was a red oak, so I guess that's why it did. It's vaporized that as well. But it took out every one of the electronics in my neighbor's house, but it also took out the circuit board in my generator, which was 75 yards away. And so that just goes to show you how powerful one of these lightning strokes can be. And so I got to thinking about, maybe I ought to start taking measures to mitigate this issue at my home, because I've been hit before, I can be hit again. And like I say, it doesn't necessarily have to hit you. It can just hit your neighbor next door and create problems that way. And so that's why this episode here is going to be on a whole home surge protection system. Now, if you live in an older house, probably from the 60s through the 70s, if you go out and look at your service drop, you may see a little box like this tied into it. That's called a lightning arrestor, and it's called an MOV as well, metal oxide varistor. And so what this does is when it detects a high spike in voltage from a lightning strike, this acts like an open switch, and so it closes and it sends that voltage to ground. And that's why the white wire is connected to the ground, and also the ground is connected to the neutral wire. That bare wire that goes back to the transformer is called the neutral, and generally there's no voltage that runs through that. But when I was a home inspector, I found several times where the ground wire had become disconnected to the ground rod, and that's a real dangerous situation. So you ought to go out there and check and see if it's still connected. Just go out there and kick it with your foot, and because if it's not, you need to get that fixed pretty quick, because it does more than protect your home from ground faults inside the house. It's really also there to protect you from lightning too. Lightning is so many millions of volts that it can hit a mile away on a power line somewhere, and it's so powerful that it can bridge all the insulators and transformers and come right into your home. And that's what these surge protectors will do if you get the right one. That's why it's important to get the right one as well. And so have an electrician come out there and install that on the main panel, and so that way if you get anywhere in the power grid, it gets struck, your house is protected, because if that electricity gets in your home, what it'll do is it'll burn everything up inside of it, and everything connected to it, including the wiring, your switches. It can just create thousands of dollars worth of damage. And you might say, well, that's what I have insurance for, but do you really want to be without everything for who knows how long? And how much faith do you have in these insurance companies? Another. So, I'm not going to get into that too much, but, that's what these things are. If you have an older house and if you have a newer one, Eaton makes one, but I'm sure there's others. Siemens probably makes one that you can get at probably Lowe's or Home Depot or Amazon, but you should have an electrician to install it because it has to go into the main panel. And so I'm going to create some short videos about this. I'll try to keep them short because nobody wants to watch along, including me. But the next episode I'm having coming up, it's going to be really fascinating. It's going to be on a lightning rod system that I installed. And there's a lot of myth surrounding these, and there's a lot of disbeliefs and beliefs also surrounding these that are false, including me. I had some my own opinions about these until I started doing some research on them. And so that's why this is going to be a pretty interesting episode coming up. And I hope you go ahead and subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell down there if you want to be notified when I release that. And I also want to thank you for being a part of Southern Stories as well. And I really appreciate when you leave comments because a lot of the comments y'all put down helps every one of us. I don't know everything, but share your lightning stories as well. I like to hear about those. I know it's kind of crazy. I went to the fire department, which I'm going to be doing an episode on Spanish Fort Fire Department not too long ago. I went to their open house, and I ran into Roger Few up there, and he told me that, I can't remember how long ago it was, but he went to 2 lightning calls within an hour of houses being struck in Spanish Fort. And so they had an open house up there, and I encourage everybody to support this local fire department. They're just a great bunch of guys, and Roger Few is about as good as it gets too. I'm really thankful that we have him heading the fire department up. So thanks, guys, and stay tuned to these upcoming episodes. I appreciate y'all. Peace.